We're talking about the entire world of work at MRI. And what I mean by that, and what we as an organization mean by that, is the convergence between the full-time or perm employee versus the interim or contractual employee, and how both in time, in terms of endurance or time of the role, as well as the pool of people working in those two business models, if you will, or what I call work arrangement models. Do you see, as we go forward, this now, the interim accelerating a bit due to the fact of COVID, and allowing the flexibility for companies then to bring people in and to do roles? And will we see talent become a little more less job agnostic or work agnostic to the role, and look to really fill a role, whether it be perm or whether it be interim, and really draw to a conclusion? What are your thoughts about that?
Well, I think there are a couple of observations that I'll leverage to answer your question. So I think first and foremost, there has been a fairly consistent acknowledgement that the flexible work schedules, the remote working, is not having as much of a detrimental impact to productivity as some of the, let's say, more old school minded business owners feel. That could have happened. I'll give you a perfect example. At ITR, we are owned by Alan and Brian Bolio. They are baby boomers in their 60s, and they were hesitant prior to the start of the pandemic to allow a lot of their younger employees to work remotely or to have flexible schedules, because they thought that would have a significant impact on productivity. We have not seen anything. In fact, it's been quite the opposite. We've been more productive, more efficient since this started. And really, I think that there's a broader acknowledgement that if you give your employees the flexibility, you're going to get more output from them. So I think it's building on a trend that was already there. The younger generations, especially the millennials that are now the largest single part of the job market, they always prefer to work like this. It's not a mentality of butts in seats, for a lack of a better word, but rather measure me on my output and my productivity. These are people that are not happy working rigid work schedules, the 8 to 5, so to speak, schedule, and they're much more productive if you allow them some flexibility during the day, but then also understand that they are willing to get on their email and be productive in the evening hours as they watch Netflix. So I think that generally speaking, it's a recognition of something that has been building for quite some time, and this pandemic really exacerbated, or I think accelerated that trend that was already kind of budding under the surface. The other aspect that I will say is that I believe that businesses will leverage this opportunity of lower activity in terms of demand to introduce redundancy in their positions. What I mean by that is the staff that you do have, if they're not nearly as busy in their previous roles, a great way to leverage this downturn is to train the individuals to take on additional roles within the company. That creates flexibility and resiliency in your business in case you do lose someone in a critical position. And so I think that understanding, that ability to be more malleable, more flexible, is going to lead to a more flexible approach to positions in general. And I think that businesses understand that the key to survival is being flexible and adapting to the changing realities of today's very complex and vibrant job market, in the sense that you've got to be willing to work with people to meet their needs, and at the same time communicate to them very clearly what your needs are, so it's more of a partnership rather than the traditional employer-employee relationship.